Luke's Journal, inspiring faith at work.
Hello, my name is Miriam. I am part of the Luke's Journal editorial team, and today I am with my classmate and my friend Emmanuel Eto, who also goes by Manny, to interview him about his talent and how he became a unique part of the Luke's Journal podcasts. Thanks for joining me today, Manny.
Of course.
Could you first tell us about how you discovered this talent and how so far you've been able to utilize it?
Of course. It's kind of hard to say when I started, because it kind of comes about. Like if I'm like messing around and with friends or family, I just make weird noises, or I make my voice super, super deep. You know, and people are like, "Oh wow, your voice sounds interesting. You should do voiceovers. You should do narration or something like that." But it was always a joke. And it wasn't until high school I joined a club called Speech Team, and they had a activity called radio, where they gave you like a thick packet, and they gave you an hour, and you had to make a radio script, and you read it. And funny enough, when in one of my competitions, one of my very first competitions, I read the script in the way you're supposed to, in the order. And afterwards, I don't know if he was a professor or just a representative of a university, came to me after and said, "Here, take my card. I'm like, "Whoa, what's this? What's this all about?" He's like, "You sound amazing. Please contact me so I can get you situated." I was still in high school, so I was like, okay. And then I went back to playing video games after. So I think that's how it really started. And then now I'm just involved in certain things. Like both of us are a part of an varsity. Mm-hmm. So we had like an event, and they wanted me to narrate a trailer for the event, to present the event. Everybody was like, "Whoa, who's this? Who's this guy? Wow, this is professional." Then they found out it was me, and they were like, "No way, that doesn't sound like you. No way." So it was just really funny. And also other things on the side. I did some things over the summer. I did a trailer for presenting a documentary to the History Channel. They didn't end up using my voice, but it was still a great opportunity. And it was very nice to be able to work with professionals and people who know what they're doing in cable and TV and networking. And I also did, as we know, that's why I'm here, at Luke's Journal podcast. And yeah, that's where I am right now.
Thank you. So we're both part of our university's gospel choir, and I remember at practices how impressive your vocal range was and your impressions were as well. And so when Luke's Journal was looking for someone to to say a short bit for the intro of the podcast, I thought of you because I knew how good you were, with using your voice in a unique way. So when I reached out to you about this volunteer opportunity, what made you say yes?
Oh, okay. What made me say yes? Well, first of all, you're my friend, and it would be a jerk move to say no, right? Also, I wasn't really doing anything. It was summer, I find that if anybody, first of all, I was very happy that you reached out to me. I was grateful, and I don't know. It was just really flattering that you would reach out to me out of anybody else you could have reached to for that opportunity. Secondly, again, I saw it as an opportunity, a way that I could really show off my skills and volunteer and contribute to something as amazing as Luke's Journal podcast. It's a very nice podcast. Listen to a lot of the episodes, and it's very nice. So yeah, I said yes because you're my friend, and it's just a great opportunity.
Thank you. We really appreciate you using your talent in this way. So the theme of this issue coming out for Luke's Journal is called Missions and Sacrificial Service. So can you give us your perspective on using our talents and even unique gifts to serve others or help the community?
Of course. Well, two things come to mind, and what connects them both is that it's biblical, I would say. That's the first thing that comes to mind, is biblical. Now, the first thing I think of is, I believe, in 1 Kings, King Solomon interacts with another king called Hiram. And King Solomon understands that his people don't have the skills that King Hiram's people do. But because he was humbled, and because he asked, and King Hiram was like, yes, he was happy. He was flattered also about it. And so they came together and worked together to make the project that King Solomon needed to. And throughout the whole thing, relationships were strengthened, and just the whole community was just better because people depended on one another for their skills. And the second thing that comes to mind is just in the New Testament when the disciples and apostles and people who were involved in the early church traveled to different places and spread the word, and people with different gifts, even in the early church, came together. They helped each other because one person had a gift, the other person had a gift. They didn't have the same gift. When they came together in the body of Christ, they came together and made something beautiful. Yeah. So that's what two things come to mind, and I think it's amazing. I think it's something that we all should strive to do.
Yeah. Thank you for your biblical perspective on that.
Of course.
So in your short speech for the intro of the podcast, you say, inspiring faith at work. And so I know that at university you're currently studying biomedical engineering, so you have kind of a unique perspective of the medical profession, even if it's from a different angle. So as you know, the Luke's Journal is part of the Christian Medical and Dental Fellowship of Australia. So when I gave you this script and told you, what we needed to be said, how did you personally interpret these words?
Okay, so inspiring faith at work. Well, first of all, we're college students, so we really don't have really solid work right now. So the first thing I can think of is college work. So classes, internships, research, that kind of thing. And so inspiring my faith in college, okay? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I remember reading how it said that back in times in the past, people would go to college to gain their faith, to strengthen their faith. But now people go to college to lose their faith. And I find that's very interesting and kind of saddening, really. Yeah. So I think it's important that I find a way to manage my faith and find a way to have my faith be inspired to keep my faith in an environment where people are losing it. And in the lens of a biomedical engineer, I think it's really important too, because I was in a class called cellular engineering, and I was just looking at the complexity of just the cell and the sea of different proteins, organelles, and all of these different things coming together, working together. And it just amazed me. I was like, there's no way, this has to be God, right? And another thing that comes to mind, I was reading a book written by Michael Behe called Darwin's Black Box. And it talks about how Darwin's macro theory of evolution completely melts to the ground when you introduce irreducible complexity, which is just a system that has all these different parts. And if you take one part out, then the whole system loses its function, right? And so when I read that and I coupled it with what I already know, what I've already seen, it inspired my faith. It strengthened my faith even more. Because the biological system is amazing. There's no way that it came into existence by itself. That's like having a bike turn into a motorcycle on its own. It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So that's what I think of when I think of inspiring faith at work.
Thank you. That was very profound. So, Manny, how do you hope to use your voice skills in the future?
Oh, thank you for asking that. I believe that I want to use my voice for projects like Luke's Journal. I would like to use it for narration. I would like to use it for shows, just anything at this point, because I'm very new to the scene. I haven't done a lot, but I would like to continue to be better, I guess train, if you will, and really put my foot forward out there, network, get to know people, learn different things, because there are people who are way better than me, and I know that. So it's just about learning from them and just becoming all around better. And I think that's the first thing I would say that I should probably focus on right now, since we are in school and we're putting so much time and effort towards getting a degree. I think right now, it'd be best to do smaller projects, nothing too intense, but also improving my voice, because my voice can always improve, can always be better. Yeah.
So when I reached out to you about this opportunity, you asked me if we needed it to be done in an Australian accent, and considering, we were both American. So can you tell us a little bit about how difficult it was for you to voice something you haven't done before?
Yeah. Well, first, I found it almost intimidating because, like I said before, I did silly things with my friends and family. I made like different accents and stuff like that. But when your accent is actually being judged by the real thing, it's a whole different ball game. So I was kind of nervous. I thought they were gonna look at me like all goofy, like look at this guy. But it wasn't as hard as I thought it was because I practiced. Even if I was being silly, I practiced, and so it came a little bit more natural than I would have anticipated. So it was fun. I really liked it. Yeah.
So Manny, how is the best way to contact you if someone wanted to reach out to you about needing your skills?
Okay. There's three. There's Gmail, Outlook, and Instagram. My Instagram handle is MANNETOH. My Gmail is MIKENNAOE@gmail.com, and my Outlook email is IETOH1@jhu.edu.
Thank you, Manny, for joining me, and it was great to hear from you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.